Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about how to choose a IA topic and an aim, what that is, and I'm going to be giving you some examples of good and bad IA topics, IA aims, just so you get a feel for, what a good aim looks like, what a good IA topic looks like. Before we talk about the aim and what the aim is, we're going to first talk about choosing an IA topic. And I use the word topic just as, the general concept that you're going to be exploring. That would be your IA topic. I'll define what an aim is a little bit later. But your IA topic is just like, what are you exploring? What mathematical concept are you exploring? And I would say there are two overall ways of kind of approaching it. And the two overall ways I've represented with this tree diagram. So the first way is just you decided an IA topic based on some personal interest. So I've had students who've done this successfully in the past. I think it's a good approach. There are some advantages and disadvantages to this, but I'll talk about those later. So one student in the past, he had a hobby of observing stars. That's what he did on his free time. He enjoyed doing that. Um, and what he did was he used these stars as kind of like fixed points to help him navigate the Earth. Okay, and so the idea here is just that he's using his hobby to explore navigation along the Earth's surface. And turns out that navigating across the Earth's surface uses a concept. It uses a branch of mathematics called spherical trigonometry. And so it's like an extension of trigonometry, but trigonometry that kind of revolves around curved surfaces. And so he successfully was able to kind of connect his hobby to navigation across the Earth, and that was really cool. Second example comes from economics. This student was majoring in economics. Okay, so this was her college major. What she did was she explored the differences between discrete and continuous compound interest. The idea of discrete compound interest is something we can intuitively wrap our head around. It's like, our money grows every month, every year, blah, blah, blah. But the idea of continuous compound interest was a little bit kind of abstract to her. And so she wanted to explore that and the differences between the two using mathematics. And so you can see, even though it may be economics related, she tied it a little bit to economics. The core of it is definitely mathematics. I had another student who had an IA that was around biology, and biology was his future major. He wanted to go into biology related major, and so he looked at modeling the number of people infected using differential equations. Specifically, there's a model, the SIR model, and it can be used to kind of model how viruses grow over time. And so that's what he did. I would say that differential equations is something that you guys might want to look up, especially if you're doing a calculus-related IA. Differential equations is possibly the most important portion of calculus, and we're not going to get to it until later in DP2. However, your IA might revolve around differential equations. It might be worth just Googling what it is, and if it's something that can apply to you. There are many mathematicians who've said that, like differential equations is kind of the language the universe is written in. And so many physical phenomenon kind of can be modeled with differential equations expressed in differential equation terms, and so it might be worth looking into. Okay, so that's the first way to express or find an IA topic. You go based off of personal interest. And the second way is to go based off of some area of mathematics. So here, what you do is most of the times what happens is like a student's personal interests don't quite align with maybe mathematics at the HL level, and that's perfectly fine. There are many students who've written really good IAs, and they didn't really start with personal interest. They just started with an area of mathematics that they were interested in. I had a student 2 years ago who was interested in complex numbers, and he was interested in exploring the geometry and algebra of the nth roots of unity. Now, later on in the IA, he realized that the nth roots of unity wasn't as sophisticated as he would have liked, so he kind of generalized the idea a little bit. Okay, but here he just started with, some notion of like he enjoyed complex numbers. He enjoyed the topic. He felt he was good at complex numbers. So he started there, and then he kind of created a topic from there. Some students in the past enjoy calculus. So one topic in calculus that we'll talk about, it's called solids of revolution. We'll talk about this in DP2. But say you have a checker piece. I don't know, this is a really bad drawing. You can kind of use the outline of the checker piece to help calculate the volume of the three-dimensional solid. And so I'm going to erase this drawing. It's awful. But you guys know, hopefully, what a checker piece looks like, or a pawn. So he kind of used the concept of solids of revolution to help calculate the volume of a checker piece. And that volume also represented the amount of materials he needed to recreate a checker set. And so it was interesting, but he started with just calculus. He enjoyed calculus. Another one was on functions in calculus. This student just enjoyed functions and modeling using functions, modeling real life problems with functions. And so they looked at the benefits and drawbacks of different models of tumor growth. I'll give you this example later on, and I'll actually give you the IA for this topic. Okay, so what are the benefits and drawbacks? Well, okay, if your IA starts from personal interest, like if you choose an IA topic based off of personal interest, here are some advantages. The advantage is, if you're going based off of personal interest, chances are that you're going to be motivated to complete the IA, and not only complete it, but do a good job. The IA writing process is long and difficult. And if you're starting with a personal interest in mind, it can help you help you through the rough times of writing the IA, which there will be those times, and so it'll help you keep motivated, and I think that's one big reason to choose this approach. Another big reason is, like, one of the criterion is personal engagement. When you start with personal interest in mind, it becomes very clear to the reader that you're genuinely interested, and because of that, you'll typically receive higher personal engagement marks. Okay, not always, but typically that's what I see. Now, what are the disadvantages? The biggest disadvantage to starting with personal interest is that your topic is too simple, okay, or it's too complex. And I've seen instances of both of these where students start with personal interest and then try and choose an IA topic based off of that, but the topics are either too simple or too complicated. I had a student who loved basketball, and he wasn't able to find a topic that was suitable for Math HL, for an exploration in Math HL over 6 to 12 pages. So I would say, if you want to do a topic from personal interest and it happens to be right in the middle somewhere where it's not too simple, not too complicated, I would say just go with it, because whenever that happens, the IAs turn out nicely. Like, when your personal interests align with a good mathematical topic, I find like that's the sweet spot. Okay, and that's what if you have that happen to you, I would just go with it and run with it. Okay, the second is area of mathematics. So here, I would say the disadvantages are that if you go based off of area of mathematics, then chances are that you might not be as personally engaged with the concept or the topic that you're exploring. If that's the case, it's going to be a little bit harder to show personal engagement, although it's not impossible. Definitely not impossible. I have students who've done this, and they've received full marks for personal engagement. Here's the benefit. The benefit, honestly, of choosing area of mathematics is typically when you go based off of what area of mathematics you like, that area of mathematics is also an area that you're good at. So if you're going and choosing a topic from the field of complex numbers, chances are you're good at complex numbers. Because you're good at complex numbers or manipulating complex numbers, usually that means you'll score higher on use of mathematics, and it also means that you'll be able to choose a topic that's more suitable for HL mathematics. Okay, so I find when you go with this approach with area of mathematics, it's easier to find the topic that falls right in the middle. It's not too simple, it's not too complicated. It's easy to find like a topic that's just right. And then not only that, because you're strong mathematically in that topic, chances are you'll do better in use of mathematics. At least that's just what I found over the years. Now, I know it's harder to show personal engagement when you do this route, but I want to just make it clear it's not impossible. So, like, I had a student 2 years ago, Harrison, and he did his on complex numbers and exploring nth roots, and he was able to show strong personal engagement by making a Desmos application that helped him see the geometry of nth roots, and it was very cool. You could see that there was a lot of creativity involved in what he made. And so, he didn't, it wasn't a personal interest thing. He just wanted to explore complex numbers, and that was fine. In the same way, I've had students in the past who've chosen a topic based off of personal interest, and they found one that was just right. Last year, Terry, he likes observing stars, and he used that to help write an IA about how to navigate planet Earth. And it was amazing. Like, it was an instance where, like, his hobby perfectly aligned with mathematics at the HL level. And so, I think try both, see which approach works for you. If one doesn't work, try the other. I would say this approach is kind of easier, maybe, to find a topic, but that's maybe just personal opinion.